Hello and welcome to what you would call a lovely spring day and what I would call a little bit hot. I'm not joking, but it's fantastic. That sun is just perfect light. For some reason it's made it, and well, I've just had a strange coincidence. I've done this walk. I've already walked from the end that we're heading to here. It'll be another video, who knows how many years apart. And when I started out on my first walk, there was the noise of motor racing traffic, and also as soon as I started, a helicopter went across. Well, I was just about to start today, this one, and I could hear the sound of motor racing traffic, and then a helicopter. So it's nicely balanced by the sounds of it. And I want to show you something here before we get properly going with this video. Let me show you this. And you can see that hole there, and the way the brambles are arched, and even further in, can you see just by those lords and ladies there, that's the green plant there. You see it's like a little tunnel. Now I'm guessing that that's a badger, because that's badger size. That's badger size, my love. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just do a bit of searching yourselves on mating habits of badgers. I particularly like that silvery blue tree there. Is it no, it's not what I've no idea what it is. Like I said many times, that coniferous trees are not something that I know much about, really. I know a few, but they're not my realm, really. But that's a beautiful colour, a bit like cedar of Lebanon. That's that colour, isn't it? I think, if I'm right. I'm pretty sure, but I wouldn't stake your life on it. Well, this is going to be one of those that's a document of how this used to be. Because as I had a bit of lunch there, and I noticed that I was surrounded by dead ash trees. So it's possible that I'm never going to be coming here again. Or, you know, at least not for another 10 years. Because they'll all be coming down at some point. Whether it'll be done this year or not, I don't know. But that brings me kind of neatly on to the subject of what I wanted to talk about today, which is that there is absolutely no doubt whatsoever that everything is wrong. Every single thing is wrong. It's flawed. And the things that aren't wrong are still flawed. That's what I mean. Let's go into more details. Well, you pick anything you want. Pick anything you want, right? Obviously you can't. So let's pick something, shall I? Well, let's look at the environment, okay? The way we take stuff from the earth, you know, the way we manufacture stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then you go into it and, you know, there's a whole load of things that could change overnight, really. One of them is makeup and cosmetics. Yeah, that's I know women have a problem with this, but it's true. There's a whole lot of manufacturing methods, farming methods, all kinds of stuff. You know, the workers being paid or not being paid. That's just one angle. And then we look at, you know, the way that governments talk to people. Let's take you to this tree here. There's the way that governments talk to their people, or lie to their people, really. You know, no straight answers there. Manipulate. Everything's done in an abusive way. There's no positive, really, because, well, I think most of you will know that it's because they want to hang on to their power, really. Can't have the people having a power and getting on. That wouldn't do at all, would it? Can't have people getting on, because they might create heaven on earth. Yeah, I mean, I don't even need to go into it, you know. Like, and it all starts with you. It starts with you, how you talk to other people, how you talk to your children. You know, don't believe what someone else tells you, or certainly don't believe what someone who's nothing to do with you tells you, until you've checked it all out for yourself. But there's so much, I mean, unbelievable amount. You know, in all these ways, oh well, you know, the environment, we need to do something about it. But okay, well, fossil fuels, or we can't use petrol and diesel. We'll have to manufacture batteries, which manufacture batteries. Well, that's going to cause environmental problems as well, because it's being manufactured. All these things, see? And the bottom line is that we have to live a different way. That is the bottom line for all of it. We have to live in a different way. We can't trust anything these days. We can't trust what we've been taught. That was something I learnt early on with dinosaurs. I mean, you know, it got to a point I couldn't believe that dinosaurs existed. And I still have a problem with it. Sure, you can see the bones and everything, but I've still got a problem. I don't know what it is. And I know my instincts are good, and that's what's worrying. Oh, look at the light catching all those hazel catkins and moss up on the tree. Isn't that lovely? It's just here, just behind, while the sun's hidden behind that tree. Wow. You know, so we need to look at everything we do. You know, I try and encourage my children. My parents were quite negative to me. Yeah, and there's ways, you know, there are things like management, yeah, where you can't treat everybody the same. Because some people will need you to shout at them. Well, no, they don't. I don't think that's right. But you know, if you listen to football managers, they will say this. Some players need you to shout at them, and others just need you to, like, you know, have a friendly word. No one's the same. And I'm one of those who needed to be explained why things needed to be a certain way or whatever. You know, because my natural instinct is to not do it, because I've just been told to do it. I just won't do it. Part of my makeup. I think it's healthy. Oh, wow, this one's even more. Look at that. Isn't that spectacular? That's just beautiful. Oh, brimstone butterfly. You know, it is how we treat other people. You don't get results by bullying. You get control by bullying, but you don't get results. You know, it's the irony being, of course, that control isn't necessary. Really. Yeah, there's all these negatives like greed that ruin things, ruin the world. When actually everybody could have everything. So it's not necessarily greed, it's some kind of ego and power, isn't it? It must be. Because it can't be anything else. Because we don't need to do that. I mean, the way I found out was I went to a festival. As many people will actually tell you, Stonehenge Festival changed their lives in many ways. But going to a festival, it was amazing, because suddenly, well, that was a bit loud. That sounded like something quite big. And people would get on and help each other. You'd work as a team, as a group. Go and get firewood, take it in turns to cook. You know, if they were doing the firewood, they'd be doing the cooking. Then if they were not doing the cooking or the collection of firewood, they'd do the washing up. You know, just sort of people getting on, people people relating healthily, without any problems with greed. And it works. And that's probably why the authorities wanted to close 3 festivals down, because it worked. Now you could say, oh, but the land. But as as everyone will be able to tell you, all land is stolen. Full stop. All land. There is not one bit that isn't stolen. Isn't that superb? Just gorgeous. Sorry, the camera's a bit wobbly. Wow. And it's just, there aren't any words. And there are. Damn, the sun's gone in. So it's, there are ways we can do it. We can do it, you know. And if you say, oh, okay, surely there are too many people on the planet. Well, I've done my calculations, and you're welcome to do it if you want. Little badger. There you go. A little badger hung from home. I think that must have been where they started, but they got a bit disturbed with people walking through. There's a badger home from home. It's not a set, because apparently they just they wander off, and then if they're caught out, they'll dig a little hole underground that they can just hang out with for the night or a couple of nights, however long they need, and then go off back to the main set. It is possible there's more than one in here though. That looks quite active in there, doesn't it? Maybe not. Maybe it was. Maybe they just keep using it. Every now and then they come and dig it out. See, that looks a bit holy underneath too. And you can get on with people, you know, you talk to people in a positive way, in a positive, encouraging way. Now, I probably wouldn't have had the life that I've had if my parents had encouraged me and supported me in doing what I do, in doing what I love, in doing what I'm good at, instead of trying to make me do something that they thought that I should do, because it didn't work, did it? I didn't do that because I didn't want to do that, so I just rebelled, and then I didn't tell them that I wasn't doing it. Whereas, you know, had they been behind me, maybe life wouldn't have been such a hard struggle. Now, see if I can get that lot. There we go. There, look. Wow. So if you've got children, just encourage them. I know it's hard because we all get stressed and stuff, but if you talk to people kindly and explain and be honest. My kids know stuff about me that I don't know about my parents because it's easy to explain to people that way, because everybody goes through the same things, don't they? Everybody feels upset, they feel in love, they feel happy, they feel sad, they feel anxious. You know, it's not exclusive. It's not exclusive at all. Now, I've just seen something on the floor. I'm going to try and find a way to investigate. But even if I'm not, come in here. If you've seen the other video, you will have been in here, but this will be slightly different, I would think, because I'm filming a different way. I'm so glad I filmed the other one before. Oh, it's just beautiful, isn't it? The light on that tree, just gorgeous. Now, can I get round there? Yeah. It's going to be a difficult way round. Oh, hello. Some diggings. Yeah, I'll have to go up here and then come down. So let's wander around here and down to where I wanted to get to. It looked like a skull, or a bit of jawbone or something. And the reason I wanted to check it out was because I saw something on my way down earlier, but it was in the distance, but it looked like it was possibly red and bloody. There, is it? It is, isn't it? There we go. Ooh, hello. What's that? Now that's quite big. Is that a big fox? It's not a badger. Or is it a badger? I know the bottom jaws have dropped out, so it might not be. No, it's not a badger, it's not squat enough. I'm not entirely sure. There's the backbone. And possibly a bottom jaw there. No, that's not. Well, I'm not sure. Seems a bit too wide for a fox, doesn't it? Maybe a dog, which, that's worrying if it is. That was a bit worrying. I felt something, a shadow in here. It was a person, a man, or a being, but a bipedal being. Let's put it that way. I'll try not to say person anymore. But this, when I first came in here, this felt like just the kind of place where a big cat would hang out. I think that was a dog. Myself. Yeah, every single thing. Every single thing. You can just pick one and then run with it yourselves. Think about what's right about it, what's good about it, and what's not right about it or not good about it. And you'll go into a rabbit hole. But it may take you to the root of it all. But before I lost track, I was going to explain that if you think there's too many people in the world, well, everybody in the world will fit into the county of Yorkshire if everybody put their fingers out, their arms out to the side, in all directions, everybody in the world could fit into Yorkshire. I'm pretty sure I've done my calculations right. I did it 3 times, so it should be enough. And I got the same result every time. And so should you, I guess. But I mean, even if it's not, right? Even if it's double that, Yorkshire and Lancashire, say, that's everybody in the world could fit into that. See, the problem is that there are people... That was a very silent pheasant, wasn't it? Until it flew. But there are people... Is there a nest? No. It's okay, there's no nest. Yeah, there are people that own huge swathes of land just to own it. You know, there's no need for people to be in poverty. There's no need for people to be hungry. There's no need for any of it all. And anyone who wants to control people like that is clearly evil. An evil psychopath. Whether it's on the small scale, by someone, you know, having people live on their land, or in a house on their land or something, but then that want the money but don't actually want the people to ever be there. That's something I've encountered. Which wasn't very nice at all. Because I thought, there's no way I'm going out working for this rent and then how the hell am I going to ever be able to afford to go out? So, yeah, so I just want to encourage you to just think about everything. Don't just think that everything you do is all right. You know, there are things that I do. You know, I could talk about my job, my work, my main income until now, which is basically I'm a woodland gardener, which is not like a gardener at all, although it does involve some aspects of gardening. And basically, yeah, even if you just call it gardening, you will find that you're dealing with genetically engineered plants. You're dealing with plants that are imported, that are immigrants. Immigrants or imported. Well, it's one of the reasons why this is dead. It's through an imported plant, immigrant plant, or imported plant rather. Yeah, so it's not a good thing. It's killed off all our ash population, the whole of it. You know, sure, they're creating hybrids, but what's that? That's more genetic engineering. And as far as I'm concerned, that's wrong. If we have to wait till everything dies before we realise, oh God, we've lost another one. You have to go with what is. You have to go with what your land is. You can't force your will onto a land because it won't go. I mean, sure, you can make it, but you will ruin its essence if you do. Yeah, well, I don't really want to be doing videos like this, but they need to be done. You know, we're well beyond a time when we need to have already got our new path sorted. I've been trying to do this for, for years, since I realised. I've been trying to live that way, and hopefully I've mostly succeeded so far. At least I think I have. Anyway, enough for me today, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Ta-da! And before I go today, we just remember that pretty much everywhere has been invaded or taken over by someone. There aren't many countries that can get away without, can say no, it's never happened. And very often it's through violent invasion. I mean, there's there's something going on in the world right now that's exactly that, and you just have to go and look back at the history, but also didn't the Vikings stamp their foot on Russia and become the Rus? That's how Russia gets its name, from the Vikings. And what are they famed for? Rape and pillage and invasion. So I find it quite interesting that there are people who spout on about Viking and Viking culture and Viking this and Viking that, because isn't part of their thing to invade, kill, murder, rape, pillage? But yeah, and what's going on in somewhere else in the world? I mean, surely that must be somewhere in their psyche. It's like, the British Empire, for example. Biggest empire ever, but we've been invaded by Rome, we're invaded by the Vikings, invaded by the Saxons, invaded by the Normans. There's a history of abuse there. And what happens when people get abused and don't sort it out? They go and do it themselves, don't they? So basically what I'm saying is, none of that is an excuse to go and do it. It all needs to stop now. Israel, Palestine, all of it. It just needs to stop. If people stop fighting it, the politicians wouldn't be able to do anything to create it, would they? Because people would refuse to fight it. It's in our power. It's in our hands, not theirs. That's what I think. I just want peace and everything to be lovely. And I know I'm not alone there. Because if I'm alone in that, then something is seriously wrong. And it's no good saying, oh, they did it, why couldn't we, why shouldn't we? It's like, some things are just wrong, some people are just idiots. I mean, I'm not very happy at all that the British Empire fucked up the world, fucked up the modern world, because it did, didn't it? In many ways. as I've said before, you know, what's the reason we've got work? Because of the Midlands of the UK created work. You know, I mean, that's just, yeah, so, you know, you may be anti-British or whatever, but, you know, just because some people do it doesn't mean everybody else does it. You know, I get the feeling that the British aren't liked in many places over the world. Same way that I get an impression the Americans aren't liked in certain places all over the world. You know, and there's good reason, but it's not the people. Sure, with the British Empire it was, but it wasn't necessarily people, was it? It was the rich, the people with money, because they could afford the boats, they could afford to go and do these journeys and travel and seek out and steal gold and diamonds. Yeah, it wasn't the people. People couldn't afford it. Maybe we should all bear that sort of thing in mind. Because it isn't. Because often these things are better when you just go, when you just look at the facts and then take the facts back. You know, even to go finding a cause. You know, because you can say, oh well, someone did something and that was illegal, but there may have been a reason why they did something illegal. You know, for example, broke the speed limit, driving at 100 miles an hour through a town. Sure, dangerous, but in the back of the car is taking a woman who's badly bleeding from a head wound to hospital. Do you see what I mean? Oh, the peacock butterfly as well. So yeah, this is really the end of my mutterings.